So in this video, you're going to be learning about tone and the importance of confidence in your speech, and how even if you screw up, it doesn't really matter. All that's important is that you're confident and you're able to improvise and move on. I also discuss how it doesn't really matter what level of expertise you have. What matters is your perspective. Well, obviously your expertise level also, matters. You don't want to just talk about something you have no idea about. But I talk about how different perspectives offer different levels of expertise, with heavy air quotes there, so that anybody could really relate any skill level to whatever it is that they're interested in, if they're willing to put in a little bit of effort. For those who don't know, my name is Ryan. I started a media business recently. It's called Bedridden, and I help local, well, at least businesses local to me, create content and do digital marketing. I know that I'm still young and I'm part of this next generation coming up, so I know how to communicate with other kids my age, but older generations might not. And I also happen to know how to use a camera. I know a thing or two about lighting. I'm still figuring out the background, as you'll hear later on, but that's what I do. So this channel is not to sell you anything. It's just to document what I've learned and share my experiences so that somebody else could benefit from it as well. So if you are in the industry or niche, or if you're even interested in personal finance, health, wellness, anything like that, then you've almost 100% come across one of those ads where it's some guy trying to sell you his course or ebook and explain how he made $1 million in 10 minutes or something totally outlandish like that. If you're anything like me, you know that it looks really scammy and it's probably not trustable, and yet somehow these guys continue making money and continue putting those ads out. I wanted to look into why it came off as scammy, because clearly it is, but in order to actually learn what to avoid, you have to learn what to avoid. You got to know what you're looking for. You got to know why something looks scammy, why something looks bad or misleading, in order to avoid doing whatever that thing is. What I did in order to learn was I looked at the opposite end of the spectrum. So the people who are more professional, or seem more professional at least, and who at least appear to be making sales and actually selling their course or their ebook or whatever it is that they're trying to sell you. There's a really big difference between someone like, I don't know, Grant Cardone, and then those guys that show up on like Graham Stephan's YouTube channel as advertisements. Now, putting aside my own personal opinions, it's pretty clear that these guys that just show up on other people's YouTube channels as advertisements instead of making their own content that is naturally consumable are not really confident. Now, personally, I'm still starting out, so the 5 or 6 videos that I do have already, I'm still kind of learning how to talk to a camera, and I don't come off quite as confident. But the difference is I'm not like going out there and advertising it. I'm just speaking to a camera and talking about my thoughts. These other guys, on the other hand, they are pretending to be experts in their field, and they're acting like they know everything. And even just pointing that out sounds childish because it's such a childish concept. The reason these guys come off as scammy is because they're not actually selling you anything. They're selling you information that isn't hard to find. Now, it's not the actual selling of information that's bad. The only difference is that these guys who come off as scammy are selling you information that took them 10 minutes to find, and maybe they read one book and they're sharing what they learned, whereas these professionals are sharing what they've learned through experience, or at least giving you the opportunity to see into their world and see what they're doing as somebody who actually has a big business and actually is proving that they know what they're doing. Now, the reason this all came to mind was because recently I got a new dog. Now, I know that sounds like it's totally out of left field, but it reinforces the idea that I've been talking about. If you talk to a dog and you're whiny and you're like, hey, I know everything, like come listen to me. I mean, that alone doesn't sound very believable. It just sounds like somebody who's trying to convince you. But if instead you talk to a dog and you're confident and you say, hey, sit, it's going to listen better, because it's like, whoa, hey, this guy has authority. He knows what he's doing. Now, maybe that's a dumb example, but hopefully that illustrates the difference between these scam artists and then these actual professionals. So naturally, my mind wants to know, how can I apply this to my business, and how can I apply it to selling in general, or just sales? I know personally, I need to really work on sounding more confident when I speak. I know that I'm very smart, and it's not wrong to admit that. Everybody's really smart at something. Not everybody's confident with it, though. The difference is that people who are more confident tend to come off as smarter, even though they might know the same amount of things or even less than somebody who's not as confident. They've just been put on the spot so many times that they're ready and able to spit something out that sounds like it makes sense. But back to sales, how can all of this information be applied to actually selling something? Well, when you're on a sales call, or when you are messaging somebody, when you're talking to somebody and trying to persuade them to pay for your product or service, you want to come off as confident. You want your tone to indicate that the thing you're selling is actually worth something. It's not you're not a scam artist, right? You're not selling snake oil. Sorry about all the cuts, by the way. I'm getting over a nasty cough and have to cut each one. But anyway, sounding confident makes people want to work with you more. Even though they might not pay for whatever it is that you're selling, they still might trust you more than they'll trust someone who's just trying to throw something at them just so that they can get money in return. Personally, that's what I try to build my business upon, is being genuine and being an actual person that's there for my clients, instead of just somebody who's, you know, sending them an email and saying, oh, this is worth $4,000 every month. Basically, I'm providing value, and because I'm providing value, I can come off as more confident to people who might be interested in my services. In business as a whole, this is everything. If it's not part of your personal brand to be confident and actually provide value, nobody's gonna care about your brand. That's why I can say the exact same things as people that are multimillionaires and at the very top 1%, but because I don't seem like I can prove it, it might not be as believable. Now, I'm learning these things from people who are in that 1%, and it's the same information being presented by someone that's not them, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm hoping that I can reach somebody in a way that makes sense in their native language, so to speak. Because I'm still so young, it might be so much easier for someone in my generation to listen to me and hear what I have to say instead of listening to Warren Buffett, who's, how old is he, 90 something now? Now again, I'm not saying that I'm smarter than Warren Buffett or really anybody, because ultimately I think everybody provides value in their own way. And that's not just me trying to, you know, cheer everybody on and give an 8th place trophy. It's me genuinely saying, like, everybody sees things from a different perspective, and therefore everybody has different amounts of value that they can apply to different areas. So it's not me saying I'm smarter, it's just me saying that I have a different perspective, and that perspective might be more valuable to somebody of a different demographic. So that's just my thoughts on tone and why it's important when you are speaking to other people and when you own a business, because tone is everything. Also, sorry I was inactive. I got over a nasty cold or flu or something. I don't know what it was, but it took me out for a good week and a half, so that's why I haven't been posting anywhere. I say that like there's people that really follow me, but you know what? I'm gonna say it anyways, if nothing else, just for all the freaking algorithms that punish you for not posting. But I'm back to it. I'm excited to be back to it. Finally got the lighting figured out, at least a little bit. Still figuring out the background, so I'm open to hearing your thoughts. As always, I'm just trying to grow. I'm trying to document my learning process, so hopefully I can help somebody else out along the way.